What's up, guys? Kamikaze Fox coming to you from IRL, International Racing League Round 3 here in Mexico, and unfortunately I am piggybacking off of Sondre Sorhaug's stream because we're having some technical difficulties, so I got Sondre with me in the booth. Looks like we got 13 drivers heading out on track for an 18-minute qualifying session, and then we'll do a 50% race. See who comes out on top. So we see some of the drivers leaving the track now.
Oh, and we're gonna stick on Josh so far in this racing point. And I don't know if you have any idea about the strategy here, Lance?
Unfortunately, I do not. I'm not a strategist. I know
Well,
Joshua Arnold picked up the first win of the season back at Silverstone in round 1. Out on these soft tires right now.
well, luckily for us then, I did obviously this race yesterday, so I know the strategies, and we can see that some people, and I think I'm missing game sound actually thinking about it, but some people are going for the strategy to start on the hard tires, possibly, but the best post strategy is starting on the soft and then switch to hards later on. Oh. Yeah,
Well, Josh should be the first driver to start a timed lap as he's heading through the stadium section now.
There we have game sound back. So you take it away with Josh then.
Now the incredibly long run down the front stretch, almost 3/4 of a mile long. Hard braking zone into turn 1. We've got a caution in sector 3 already.
That is early on, but I guess it happens. As we can see that Josh on the run down.
Ooh, a little bit of an oversteer, snap oversteer moment there coming out of that corner. I'm going to try and watch the live stream so I know what you're looking at so I can commentate appropriately.
Don't worry, Lance. I'll let you know what we're commentating over. And right now it is the racing point of Joshua as he's coming through the S's here. Ooh, almost a little snap on the exit.
The S's are such a crucial part of this track, and I know you know as from a driver that's the main part of the track where you can lose or make up a lot of time. Looks like he was a little off there heading through the... Of course I'd get a phone call.
Well, that sort of stuff happens as Josh has just done a 15.7, and I'm gonna say that is a little off pace at the moment, as we can see Eric going with a 15.0 so far to set the fastest lap. And into the last sector we can see that Jack Yates is coming around the last few corners now. He will probably be up there once again today, fighting for another podium as he's coming to the line, posting a 14.8 and provisional pole so far. And we should have James Haber out on a lap. And hello there, Marshall. Sorry about that. As some people might hear, I'm not completely well today, but I'm gonna try to do my best as I do have Lancer too, fortunately for me then. And I am back. Had a small sneezing moment. But we can see that Alexander Bastos in the Renault right now is going into the stadium section on his first flying lap. Around the last corner, it's gonna be a 16 flat, and that is... well, that is a little off what I would have expected from the Portuguese driver there, but that's just how it is sometimes.
Don't get married, kids.
Alright, I'll take that as my commentator partner today then, Lance, being back. And
so yes, back in action. I see we got some news on the live chat. We've got Lewis Marshall chiming in, and looks like we've got Luis Wassman is disqualified.
well, that is it is looking like it might be that, yeah, he does have a quali ban today. He still has decided to do quali, so...
well, he is currently 7th quickest at a 1:16.787, and he's on another outlap. Now, generally, the qualifying bans, you guys are allowed to do as many outlaps as you want, but you're not supposed to set a timed lap. And he has gone and done that.
Oh yes, and we can see that Daniel Tanberg has set the third fastest lap now. And only
1:15.194.
Yes, but only three
so
drivers.
Iceman is the only driver in the 114s right now.
Oh, he is, but I can tell you that from what I know, we can see definitely Eric Salama down in the 114, in the mid 14s. I think we can see Jared Fosbury in the high 14s, and I think we should see a few other drivers in the 14s, so still 9 minutes to go.
So what's your projected pole time? I'm thinking 1:14.5s.
I'm gonna go with Eric Salama with a 14.3.
14.3, and that's going to be your pole pick.
Oh,
I'm going to go with... who's Iceman anyways?
That is Jack Yates.
That's right, Jack Yates.
And right now we're gonna follow...
Salama does go 1:14.778, new fastest lap.
And Andreas Sass goes...
And Andre Zaz goes 1:14.999.
Just about in the 14s there. What about Fosbury, the reigning champion? We haven't seen the best of him this season, have we, Lance?
We have not, but Jared Fosbury has... he's taken on a lot of administrative roles for IRL, and I think that might be impacting his ability to practice throughout the course of the season. I mean, he does some commentating now. He's admin for the league. He does stuff for the IRL GT3 league on Gran Turismo. So he's got his hands in a lot of different pots, and he's not doing bad, but it's definitely not to his full potential in what we saw out of him last year.
Well, you do definitely have a good point there. He has taken on some big roles here in IRL and trying to obviously do that to his best ability. Although I do still think he has the time to practice. I just think his sole problem defending this championship right now is that there's a lot of guys who's simply closed that gap to him and gotten better, and obviously a few new guys who's shown themselves to be contenders, such as Eric Salama. So there's a mix of a few things, I would say.
We've got Ivan Burrito chiming in on the live chat, and just a little bit of an update on the Luis Wassman situation. I'm not sure Luis is aware of his situation. He's going 1:15.237 now, which is quicker than his previous lap, so now he is 6th quickest. I'm not sure he's gotten the note that he is disqualified from this race.
It's kind of hard for me to say.
I mean, his only saving grace at this point would be, well, he would have to probably leave the session with the possibility of coming back in for the race and possibly starting in the rear of the grid, but I don't think that would work after he's already set a time.
I wouldn't. As a very recent new joining to IRL, that would be... Oh. Let's see, even I can struggle with names sometimes, lads. That is Murray Donald in the McLaren today, as he's one of 3 drivers still to set a lap in this quali.
What is that, Spiegel on the bottom? Sipiel?
Oh, yeah. And I can tell you, this is a dark horse for today's race. I'm not completely sure about how quick he is, but I think he should be able to fight up with the quickest here. If I'm right, that is though.
So only 3 drivers haven't set a time. It's Donald Murray that we were just talking about, and Kevin Harrison, and Paco Suarez. And Harrison's proven to be pretty quick in the first couple of rounds of the season. He had a really good outing at Silverstone.
As Murray Donald goes 5th with a 15 flat right there.
5th quickest for Murray in the McLaren. Good effort by him.
Well, look at this.
You see Jared Fosbury is right in front of him.
Oh, yeah, he's on an out lap. However, Eric Salama is on a quick lap, and he's up on his time in the first sector by half a tenth.
And we've got yellows flashing in sectors 1 and 2 right now. Looks like we've got one of the racing points pulled off to the side. Is that Wassman by chance? It is not.
It would have to be.
It looked like it might have been Arnold.
Oh, it could be actually. Yeah.
And they are both cutting through the S's.
But Eric Salma in the stadium section now can improve that 14.7, and with that probably
pick him up as he comes out of the last set of corners here.
And look
1:14.584. Now I called a 1:14.5 as pole time. You said he's got 2 more tenths left in him. So 4 minutes left to play in the session. We'll see if he can improve on that time, but he is now 2 tenths up on Jack Yates, the Iceman.
Ooh, yes. Well, I will have to admit you are spot on with pole time so far, but I think he can pull out those 2 tenths still. I did some practice with him on Friday, so I know he can. It's just a matter of hitting the lap correctly. In the meantime, Fosbury is out on a new lap though. Let's see if he can get into the 14s.
And apparently there is some discussion going on the live stream about the Luis Wassman situation. Lewis Marshall had brought up that he should have been told before the race, and Jared Fosbury did tell Luis Wassman before the race had gone live that he did have a qualifying ban. So the mere fact that he has ignored that, once these lights go green, he will be not scored for the race.
Exactly. In the meantime,
and now there's some radio chatter going on. Daniel Tamberg is asking the same question: why is Louis qualifying? So it's drama unfolding here in the qualifying session, all over one driver.
Well, you know, there is always a reason if somebody has gotten a qualifying ban, and obviously the drivers around is going to notice. So For this one, I
Uh,
will...
I'm sure his qualifying ban stems from an incident in Austria last round. They had some contact with another driver. Usually qualifying bans is usually the first thing that the online leagues that I would deal with is usually the first thing that they go to as a penalty, simply because you don't necessarily want to affect the outcome of the race unless it was something, where you may have ruined somebody's race. Sometimes simple contacts could be a racing incident and qualifying ban. It's easy for guys to make up some positions at the start. So the guys that I deal with, we try to not affect the outcome of the race as much as possible, but by adding time penalties. The drivers do that themselves by cutting so many quarters throughout the race. So
Oh, they do. In the
the
meantime,
question now becomes, since he's disqualified from the race, if he participates in the race and then therefore, say, causes an accident or has another incident on track that does ruin somebody else's race, he could be looking at a much more severe ban from the league or a ban from the race, even a two-race ban or something of that nature. So that's going to be something to watch out for as well. I mean, once the lights go green, he's essentially black flagged, and his position will not count. That being said, we've got less than a minute to go, and we've got a lot of drivers out on some out laps that we're going to try and keep up with. As the clock's going to run down.
That Suarez with a... He just doesn't seem on pace today.
Suarez comes across the line, 1:17.664. He's got enough time to do another lap.
Oh, but does his tires have enough in them, though? I think this might...
Oh, and round he goes, and he's into the wall. Suarez.
That is a big one.
That is done. He is done for qualifying. That is not good news for him.
Oh, and look at this. Joshua Arnold seemed to maybe get a small toll by his teammate, actually. He does, actually. Could that, well, Arnold is actually on an outlap. Let's see. We'll give Cameron Weston Edwards some screen time.
Cameron Weston Edwards in the Ferrari. Raced yesterday in SRL. He's having a really good season over there in the McLaren team. He's going to try his hand at the F2. Joshua Arnold retires from the session. Time is up. Some guys have got locked in at their times. James Hallworth is 10th quickest. Right now, Alexander Bastos, 9th quickest.
And they're finished with their qualies. In the meantime, Cameron Weston Edwards, you said it, he's done well in SRL. He's making his debut in IRL F2 today, and I think he just invalidated this time. Which would then...
Yeah, it looks like, yep, and he knows it. He retired from the session. He knows it. So he'll be locked in 8th quickest for now.
What about the
Nexus Aspect? That is, Kevin Harrison is the only driver to not set a time.
Ooh, and look at that, Lance. Eric Salma, 14.3.
Sondre called it 1:14.3 was his pole prediction. Salama makes it so, 1:14.316. So good effort for Eric Salama.
And I guess you want to run down the grid then, Lance.
Absolutely. Eric Salama is your pole winner, followed by Daniel Tanberg, Jack Yates, Andre Zaz. Nexus clone is Jared Fosbury, Donald Murray, I believe you said his name was. Luis Wassman is Nolan Boyd. Murray Donald?
Yes.
Cameron Weston Edwards is 8th quickest. Alexander Bastos, James Hallworth, Joshua Arnold. Nexus Aspect. Who was that? Kevin Harrison does set a time at a 1:17.021. He's off the pace. And then we saw Paco Suarez. He crashed out. Also 1:17.
Oh, slight error there. You said that Kevin Harrison is off pace. I don't think he's that off pace, but he seems to be going for the alternate strategy to start on hard tires.
Looks like we have a little bit of overcast day. Don't know if weather will be an issue, but definitely he's got some clouds rolling in. That'll change the track temperature for sure.
The big question right now is Louis Wassmann. What will he do? Best thing he could do now to not make his situation worse than it is right now is just to pull over and let everyone by.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to make the situation any worse,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. He should pull over, let everyone by, and then retire the car into the pits, and just let it be what it is. I mean, if it was a mistake, I mean, Wassman's been in the league now. This is his second season. He's never really caused any issues. And I don't foresee why he would cause any issues, but we're going to do the
And
formation lap. So we'll run down the grid order again. Eric Salama with his first IRL F2 pole position, followed by points leader Daniel Tanberg. Then the Iceman, Jack Yates, will be behind him, starting in third. Andre Zaz in fourth. Jared Fosbury is fifth.
Murray
Still sitting
Donald
at the grid.
in sixth.
Murray Donald, that's both McLarens there, fifth and sixth, so that's good for them. Luis Wassman, much discussion about what is going to become of him after this. Cameron Weston Edwards is going to be starting in eighth with the bright green helmet. Alexander Bastos starting in ninth. He'll be looking to make his way through the field a little bit. James Hallworth going to be looking to try and finish in the points. And Joshua Arnold, very disappointing outing for him, only 11th quickest. He won back at round one in Silverstone, so he's definitely got some speed. He's going to be able to work his way into the points, possibly to a podium. And then the two drivers starting in the back. Nexus Aspect and Suarez. That's Kevin Harrison, Paco Suarez. Paco crashed out.
I'm just going to have to point out that Paco, he's trying something different than what most people would do. He's going on the medium tires, and you can't do mediums to softs. So what exactly he's trying to do, I'm not sure. He might be going for two-stop. He might just want better tire for a longer period than the soft runners but still finish on the hards. I am not sure, but it's a strange thing he's doing right now.
Well, Harrison and Suarez are the only two drivers that are not starting on soft tires. Harrison starting on the hards, Suarez starting on the mediums. I mean, maybe they're both going to go from the harder compound to the softer compound. Maybe Suarez thinks he can get more life out of those tires than the hards. I mean, we can definitely look for those two to move towards the front.
And there we go.
5 red lights. Lights are out. Time to run with LeBrun. They go away in a puff of smoke and down this long front stretch, and it looks like it's a good start by Tanberg.
Oh, but Salama's
and they're side by side heading down into turn 1, and Tanberg looks like he's got the more preferred line. Salama's going to try and go around the outside, and he's got the position now. And Salama's going one of the Red Bulls goes around.
And that is Andreas Sass.
Zaz had a good start, and now he's falling all the way back to the end of the grid. Cameron Weston Edwards with a lightning start, all the way up to third already.
But
I don't know what Cameron Weston Edwards has been doing this year, but he has been lightning fast on the starts. He's done it in SRL this year. He's gone from third to first on the opening lap in the last couple rounds, and 8th to 3rd. Meanwhile, Luis Wassman, quote-unquote, is disqualified, running in 4th. Not sure why he's still on track.
Obviously, he hasn't.
I'm sure he's gotten the memo by now. I can assure you, Jared Fosbury has definitely sent him a message.
I would guess so, but I will assume that he hasn't checked his messages and probably then doesn't know, even though he should know that.
Caution in Sector 3, and that is Suarez around in the stadium section. Looks like he might have had some contact with Zaz. And now Murray's into the pit in the McLaren.
Joshua. He's gonna sit behind Yates for the time being.
Now Salama and Tanberg have started to gap the field. It's 1.3 back to Cameron Weston Edwards. Edwards has got Wassman all over the back of him, which is inconsequential. So from Wassman, you're going to have a little bit of a gap back to Jared Fosbury and Jack Yates. And Arnold has worked his way into the 7th position. So a manic opening lap. And the question remains about Luis Wassman, so that'll be news to be heard, I'm sure, at the end of this race as we see them heading through the S's now.
And he's definitely not making it easy for Jared Fosbury right now. Fosbury getting all the dirty air from Wassman. Also, obviously, the gap up to the car ahead of him is a little bigger than it will look on the stream then. But hopefully for Fosbury he will get past Wassman on this straight.
He's not going to be close enough to make a move. Lap 3 though, the DRS will be available now. So realistically, Fosbury's technically running 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very interesting. I mean, this is, it's unnecessary at this point as well. I'm sure Luis Wassman has gotten the notification. I know Jared has probably sent him a direct message. You had a quality ban. You have been disqualified.
I will have to assume that Jared's done that. I'm just afraid that Wassman is just like me, having notifications turned off, which means that he wouldn't notice the message popping up, which then might be why he's still trying to race. But I would just say that it's clear he's not retiring, so we're just gonna have
Meanwhile,
to
Salama has pulled out to almost a 2-second gap over Daniel Tamberg. So Salama walking away right now.
Oh, he certainly is.
And really, right now, all the action is from 3rd on back to 7th, that whole train of cars.
Oh.
And now we see Luis Wassman trying to go to the inside of Cameron Weston Edwards. And Cam, one of the hardest drivers to try and get around, and he's not going to take that lightly. He knows that Wassman's got a disqualification. And Cam is not going to be happy about this. I think the smart thing to do for Cam would just be to let Luis Wassman go instead of fighting him and wear your tires out, because he's not, basically he's not going to be, you know, accounted for at the end of this race.
Yeah, to be fair, this could kind of be a good thing for Cameron right now. There is a big gap ahead of Luis Wassman right now. There is a big train behind Cameron. If he can stay inside Wassman's DRS, he can actually exploit that to make sure that people doesn't get past him. So for him right now, this could be a good thing.
That is a good point, because when Weston Edwards was running in 3rd, he was too far back from Tamberg to use the DRS, so possibly a strategy move there.
And we will now all see them all down the long straight.
Fosbury's going to try and make a move to the inside. And they are side-by-side drag race down the front stretch. Fosbury gets in front of him. And it looks like Arnold's looking to make a move on him as well, but he wasn't close enough to make it work.
Oh, and what's happened with Tamberg? He seems to be struggling a lot now. He's lost a lot of time to Eric, and he's been caught up by this train.
Yeah, Tamberg is about to be a part of this 7-car train for position here.
Oh, and look at Joshua Arnold looking feisty on Cameron here.
Looks like Cam is struggling a little bit as well as Tamberg, so those two seem to be slipping back a little bit.
Oh yeah, that looks like Cameron is struggling here now. He's losing time to Fosbury.
Ooh, look at this to the inside. Arnold's going to try and a little bit of argy-bargy there as they touch wheels. Cam's able to hold the position. The stadium section is very narrow in comparison to the rest of this track. It's not really an opportunistic passing area.
You can, but it's difficult. It's very difficult and usually a bad
3
idea
wide as they
with
head into
this
turn
long
1.
straight.
And Cam loses out. He loses 2 positions. And he's about to lose a third. Oh, and he's cut the grass there. That's definitely going to be at least a warning for a time penalty.
Oh, and is Cam gonna lose another position to James Harworth now as Harworth goes around the outside? And but they're still side by
Looks
side.
like we've lost
Ooh.
Murray. As these two are still running side by side, and Cam goes off 4 wheels. Goes over the red and white curbing and gives the position up to James Hallwitz. And now Cameron Weston Edwards, who started 8th, is now back to 8th. And it looks like Donald Murray is done for today. He will be qualified 12th. And Tamberg just picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah.
Now he's got Luis Wassman and Jared Fosbury all over his gearbox.
Well, I would just say as I did with Cameron, but Tamberg goes straight in, so could there be a wing change here? Is that what's happening?
Watching the drag race down the front stretch between Fosbury and Wassman. It looks like Fosbury is going to make a move at the end of the straightaway. And these two are side by side now.
And he's made the move.
And he's got the position, and they both got DRS still. Ooh, and a big lockup from Wassman heading into that corner. Kept his car off of Fosbury, so you're going to have to give Wassman the benefit of the doubt that maybe he really doesn't know he's had a qualifying ban. Maybe he does have his notifications off. He's not racing dirty in any sense of the word.
It's kind you know, it's kind of ironic. He got that qualifying ban from obviously not racing clean. Now he's disqualified and he's racing clean, so that is kind of ironic if you ask me.
Meanwhile, Eric Salama is 5 seconds out in front of this battle that is a non-battle. Jared Fosbury running in second.
And I
Iceman, Jack Yates.
Oh, and we have a battle. It's James Haworth on Cameron Weston Edwards again into turn 1. But it's an easy move.
Hallwick's going to have the position. Oh, and he goes wide. Weston went wide. So now Harrison's looking to make a move on him. And Harrison's running those hard tires, so he's going to be running a really long first stint. How far into this race is Harrison going to be able to run those hard compound tires?
20 to 25 laps, I would say, as I did that yesterday.
And Suarez unfortunately has not made up a lot of ground. He had that spin at the stadium section, and he's currently running in 12th on the medium tires. So, and oddly enough, Suarez has made a pit stop and put mediums back on. So, Suarez is, I think Suarez has missed the mark today for sure. He's,
well, I mean, he pitted on lap 3, so he could have gone hard to the end to try to save his race by going on mediums. I don't know what he's thinking, but I think he's kind of made a mistake there.
And we've still got this 3-car battle going here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. That's Hallworth, Cameron Weston Edwards, and Kevin Harrison. And Harrison's not been able to find a way around Edwards for the 6th spot. Edwards is looking to make a move on James Hallworth as he goes down into the end of the straightaway. Wasn't close enough to make a move. Tries to get the power down coming out of that. Oh, and look at this. Harrison's trying to size them. Harrison's trying to size them both up.
Well, he's lying there with the hard tires. He knows that the worst thing that can happen right now is damage, so he's got to be careful about his move.
into the stadium section once again, working lap 10 of 36. Anybody make a move to the pits? And yes, Hallworth is going to head into the pits, so now Edwards is going to be all by his lonesome with no DRS. Well, we'll have it for this part here, but look at the run that Harrison gets down the straightaway.
Ooh, and I can see it in the background as we have Yates on, well, Wasman, but there is no there. But Harrison, though.
And now Harrison and Weston Edwards still side by side, manages to finally get around him. And while these two have been battling it out, Alexander Bostos, currently running in 7th, is closing the gap down to these guys.
Yes, but they're not far away from their pit stop now. The pit window is now until lap 12, so...
And Wassman has retired from the session. Looks like he had crashed out, actually. Looks like he's crashed out in the S's. Yep.
Yeah.
So Wassman will officially and finally be DQ'd from this race. And looks like Fosbury is headed into the pits. So that hands over second place to Jack Yates. Cameron Weston Edwards, 5-second penalty, speeding into the pit lane.
Oh, and that is a rookie mistake. Well, look at this, James Howarth right on the back of Joshua Arnold.
Looks like they both picked up a couple of spots. Hallworth to the inside. And he's got plenty of speed as they come down this very long straightaway. And into turn 1, Hallworth is easily going to pick up that spot.
Ooh.
Oh, but he gets a little bit of a left tap, and around he goes.
And
so Arnold dived in deep on that from the session. So no racing points in this race right now. They've both retired from the session.
And you know, that means that everyone still in the race is actually getting points now.
And we've got a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. And I'm really surprised Arnold is that maybe a little bit of a rage quit?
Well, I saw some wing debris going, and that was probably his front wing. So with that, he would have had to go into the pit again for hard tires, which he... I don't know, if he had another set of hard, maybe he could have. But I think he probably saw the chance of getting points just running away from him.
And it looks like he did just come over the radio and say that his race got ruined again. So Arnold, who had a really good outing in round 1, had a couple of mishaps the past couple races. I can't, if he's referring to the incident there between him and Hallworth, nobody ruined his race but himself. I mean, Hallworth had the run, didn't do anything out of the ordinary, made the pass, and I think Arnold just went in too deep. And
what about Paco? He's getting close to Andreas Sass.
Here we go, the Mercedes versus the Red Bull. Paco Suarez finally able to get into the points. Compliments of a couple of DNFs and a DQ. Suarez, at least, he's probably happy to see a car again. Oh, and he gives the Red Bull a little bit of a tap there.
Oh, and I think we have a battle further up the road too, and that's between the two net leaders of Daniel Thunberg and Eric Salama as they go through the last corner now. Eric Salama obviously done with his pit stops now. He's on hard tires. Thunberg, on the other hand, on mediums, he will have to go in again.
And Bastos just dived into the pits, got out of the way of these two.
Ooh,
Salama with a good run and on the inside. Not close enough, but man, he's got those rotors glowing.
Ooh, but with a good run right now, he can maybe go for it into turn 4, I think it is.
Oh, and he does!
On the inside.
Last ditch effort got in there. Now they're side by side. So they head through these left-hand, right-handers. They're still side by side. Tries to get the power down.
Oh, no.
Now, this is not going to work side by side through the S's here. They've got to go nose to tail.
And that's exactly what
Salama
Salama
tucks back
realized.
in line, and now we're right on board with him. Unbelievable number of corners those two just had side by side, and really good racing and very clean. Tamberg definitely gave the cars width, left them a lane, and now it's going to go all over again.
But into the first corner, there's a long straight with DRS. Eric Salama closing that gap, but I don't think he's closing quite fast enough.
And Salama not close enough to make a move this time. And again, Tamberg's able to gap him just a little bit.
In the meantime, I think James Haworth has been able to make the move on Cameron West Edwards into turn 1.
Can Edwards get it back? It doesn't look like it, though, because Hallworth's got the DRS advantage.
And not just that, but Haworth is on the soft tire, so I'm not sure what kind of strategy he's pulling here.
Meanwhile, looks like Edwards has the hard tires on. It looks like he was struggling for grip heading through the S's there.
Oh, but look at this though. It's round 3 between Daniel Tandberg and Eric Salama as they go on to the long straight. Salama seems a bit closer, but I don't think he's close enough this time either.
He's got the DRS slot open as he heads out into turn 1. And he's going to get there just at the end of the straightaway. And James Hallworth just ran the fastest lap, a 1:18.529.
Oh, what about now? Eric Salama getting a good exit there, still close behind, but he's going to be a little too far behind again. Yeah.
Tamberg gets out of that turn 3 onto that dogleg backstretch really well. He's able to get the power down and get the car going at that low speed. Salama hasn't been able to do that. That's where he's losing that little bit of a gap.
Oh, yeah, but
Salama's best chance is going to be on the front stretch.
Well, that is his best chance, but there is a factor we are forgetting about here, and that is that Tamberg is on the medium tires, so it should be difficult for Salama to pass Tamberg at this time being, but obviously Jack Yates is just 5 seconds ahead of these two. Tamberg has to pit again, so Salama is still in a great position. And I think Salama might have it on this straight actually.
This is the closest he's been as they head down into turn 1. Going to pull out a line and then
he's
dives to the inside. And he's got it for now. Can Tamberg get it back? We're going to find out. This has been Tamberg's money corner. This is where he's been able to gap him.
Oh, no.
But he's not going to have the DRS advantage.
And now
and finally, after they went round for round and blow for blow, Salama finally gets by Daniel Tamberg.
Oh, he does. And we have a battle further down the road too between Jack Yates and Fosbury.
Battle for the 4th spot now. Jack Yates in the Sauber.
In the Alpha, that is.
Oh, that's right. Alfa Romeo, not Sauber.
You're not the only one struggling with that. I don't know how many times I've called the Alpha Sauber or the Racing Point the Force India for that matter.
And Tamberg picks up a 3-second time penalty. Salama just went fastest lap. And Fosbury's trying to close this gap down to the Alfa Romeo of Jack Yates. Got the DRS slot open, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move. And look at this. Yates is taking a more defensive line. Oh, and look at that. Back end kicks out on Fosbury's car. He's got a good run heading down to this corner. He dives to the inside. Almost outbreaks himself. They're side by side as they come out of that set of corners. Yates is giving them enough room, and they're still side by side. But once again, as we saw a couple laps ago between Salomon and Tamberg, you're not going to be able to go side by side through these high-speed S's. So Fosbury tucks back in the line. He wasn't going to be able to hold the position.
But it looks like Fosbury has a good run out of this SS. He's going to be close enough for the long straight this time.
Wasn't able to make it work. Closes up under braking big time at the stadium section. Oh, but a big twitch from the car there as he tried to get the power down. That cost him some time and definitely got gapped there a little bit by Jack Yates. He's fairly far back, Jack Yates. Again, is going to try and it looks like he thought about maybe taking away that inside line, but he thought better of it. Stayed on the racing line.
And, ooh, can he be close enough into turn 4? He's not. Oh, but Andreas Sass on the inside of Paco. He was thinking about it, but he couldn't get close enough there. What about into turn 4? We can see these two catching up to Bastos.
So about to have a 3-car battle here. 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Oh yeah, but thinking about it though, Paco can't be far away from another pit stop with 16 laps, all mediums.
And we did have Luis Wassman give us a WTF on the live chat. Perhaps he's finding out now about his disqualification. See, Paco Soares picks up a 3-second time penalty. And while all this has been going on, Eric Salama is currently running in 2nd. Almost has that gap down to Jack Yates. Meanwhile, Fosbury is still working on the backside of... I'm sorry, that's Jack Yates. Who's Iceman? Iceman is Jack Yates. Aspect is...
Yeah, that is
Harrison.
Kevin Harrison.
All this Nexus nonsense, I don't understand it.
Too many similar names for us old guys.
I mean, is there like some sort of Nexus race team that I don't know about?
There is exactly. And all of these are a part of it. Well, all of the Nexus drivers there, obviously. Now I think Eric Salama is going to be preparing to make a move on Kevin Harrison. Alpha against Renault.
There you go, down into turn 4 or 5. Not sure how it's classified with that dog leg. Salama is all over the backside of the Alfa Romeo.
But right now he's running no ERS. He's just saving up to make an attack on the front stretch.
Through the stadium section now. Now this should be a very easy pass for Salama.
That is a bad exit by Kevin Harrison, and it should be an easy move for Eric Salama now.
I think Harrison knew that he wasn't going to be able to hold him off. Doesn't really drive him that far down. Just gets a little defensive, but Salama easily able to make the pass.
Ooh, but look at this though. Jackie Yates on Fosbury. And it's a move done.
And Fosbury loses out once again. Back into fourth.
Ooh, and there's more moves. It's Andreas Sass on Alexandra Bastos.
And Suarez has been able to move up into seventh and get by these guys.
You're right, and he's even managed to pull a little away actually, so... But he will have to pit again though. I can't imagine him taking those soft tires for, well, medium tires for much longer.
Yeah, Suarez has 19 laps on his mediums.
That's got to be close to puncture territory.
Oh, and Tamberg picks up a 5-second penalty, speeding in a pit lane.
Oh, and now we gotta see what is he going on, but oh, what about Fosbury?
And it looks like Tamberg has switched over to softs. So he should run them to the end of the race.
Oh, he should, but 14 laps on soft is gonna be... Oh, that is gonna be quite bad at the last few laps though.
And then we've got side-by-side action. Fosbury and Yates again going at it. Fosbury not done with this battle. He wants that position back, which is now the last podium spot. This is the battle for third now.
Oh, well... Oh, well, you will have to remember, Kevin Harrison still in second there, still yet to pit, so there is still 2 podium positions up for grabs.
Now, you would know better than I do. Tamberg had a 5-second time penalty going into the pits for speeding. Does that penalty get served in the pits, or is that added to your race time?
Well, no, not in that pit stop. If he pits again, he serves it in the pits, although I highly doubt that he will do that, so he's gonna get a 5-second added to the end of the race then.
And here we go, Fosbury again. This time he's going to swing to the inside. And now they're side by side again. He tries this crossover move. He's not able to get the power down. The back end kicks out on him. And Paco Suarez picks up a time penalty. Nose to tail through the S's. Fosbury's been able to get close a couple times. He's not able to make a move stick right now. Yates making life very difficult for him. Meanwhile, Eric Salama has been able to gap Harrison to the tune of almost 3 seconds.
Oh, it is definitely looking like a strong victory for Eric Salama in the 2nd week in a row now. And look at Daniel Tanberg on the back of Cameron Weston Edwards. This should be an easy move for Daniel on the soft tires.
And Tanberg all the way down on the inside. Edwards tries to get a little bit of slipstream off of him.
Oh, yeah, but you can see in these 2 corners that those soft tires is working way better than Cameron's hard tires.
Oh, and Zaz just gave a chrome horn to Alexander Bastos as they went into turn 1. Gave him a little love tap.
Love tap.
Bostos moves into 8th. But Zaz is all over the back of him. The battle's all over the track right now.
Oh, there is. And I don't know which one is the most likely to see any passes soon, but for now we're sticking on with... Well, we're gonna jump over to Fosbury as he's going down the long straight behind Jack Yates. As we can see, the fastest lap being set by Tandberg with a 1:17.426, I think it was.
And Fosbury once again trying to get that power down and get a good run down this back straightaway.
But he's gonna sit behind for now.
Not close enough to make a move.
And you know, I can notice that James Haworth is catching on his teammate Andreas Sass, so we might have a 3-car battle incoming for 8th soon.
Fosbury is now the closest I think he's been as they head into the stadium section. He's able to get up right on the rear of the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo. But it seems like out of this corner here, he's not able to get that power down. And you can see the Alfa Romeo just is able to swing to the outside a little bit better and just make that work.
Oh yeah, but I think Fosbury should be close enough this time. We can see him getting slipstream. DRS is open.
All the way down to the grass, side by side. And Fosbury's going to be able to make it work. No. Yates is not going to give him the position. Oh, and Fosbury back end kicks out on him. The Alpha slides wide, a little bit of contact there. And while this was going on, Bastos has made a move, and we've got a loss of... Oh, that was Suarez heading into the pits. Suarez heading into the pits. And Zaz is trying to make a move on Bastos.
And look at the pace from Daniel Tandberg at the moment. He's catching heavily on these two ahead of him.
And now the Alfa Romeo and the McLaren aren't done with each other.
Oh, that's far from it.
And
look
Yates
at Yates
looking to make a move on the backstretch out of the S's. He thought about it. Now this is where Yates has been able to really make up some ground. He's been able to gap.
Ooh, and he's going to be close enough.
And he is going to have a huge run going down into turn 1.
Down the inside.
Oh, and Fosbury swings it wide, tries to stay with him. Crossover move by Fosbury, gets the power down, but he's going to have to tuck in behind him. That's very close racing. Fosbury to the inside, which becomes the outside. They're bumping wheels. And as they say, ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Fosbury loses out on the position. So these guys have gone blow for blow, round for round, lap after lap. And now the Alfa Romeo is able to gap Fosbury. And Fosbury is going to be way out on this one now. He's not going to be able to make a pass. He's not going to be close enough. Interestingly enough, while these two have been battling it out, they've been closing the gap to Kevin Harrison, who is on lap 28 of 36 and still on the same tires that he started with. He's yet to make a pit stop. he pitted now, that would put 8 laps on soft, so he's going to run these very well into the stint.
Oh, could this be team play? Is he gonna try to let his teammate go and hold up Fosbury a little?
And is that rain? Is it starting to rain?
Oh, it is, and that's
it is
why
starting to rain here at Mexico.
But how
and has
quickly is this
Harrison
gonna
played
hit?
the strategy perfect?
Oh, nobody is going into the pit for wet tires yet.
I'm riding on board with the Alfa Romeo. You can see the rain coming down, spraying across the camera and the car, and this race, the great equalizer, is showing its dirty face. Is the rain going to call anybody out?
Oh, we can see the 2 Red Bulls further down the grid. Anybody of those gonna pit yet? No.
No, but Hallworth is going to be able to get around his teammate Zaz easily.
Oh, he should be, but Zaz is defending.
Zaz does take the more defensive line. I thought maybe he was giving him the lane, but Owen Hallworth almost outbraked himself and lost it. Got to be careful with that because it is starting to rain. So.
Oh, and look at
Meanwhile,
this.
it looks like Alexander Bastos.
Fosbury can't follow Yates that closely now that it started to rain. Could this hit hard enough for us to see the wet tires coming into play?
It's definitely starting to come down. I can definitely see there's going to be a switch over to at least intermediates. I don't know that we'll get full wets out of this, but I can definitely see some guys are going to have to switch over to intermediates. The changeover, though, is... And look, Fosbury's into the pits. Is he going to be the first one to switch over to intermediates?
Oh, has he decided it's too wet now? He...
Puts on mediums?
Oh no. That is a mistake. That is a huge mistake by...
He's gone to mediums. I wonder if he meant to try and put the intermediates on. That... We'll have to keep an eye on that, see if he goes back around again. And look, we've got... Zaz is going into the pits as well.
Ooh, what is he going to do, though? And it's in...
And he is putting on intermediates. And a new front wing.
What about the leaders? They should be coming into the stadium section.
Zaz is going to be the first driver on intermediates. Fosbury has got to be kicking himself, I'm sure.
Oh, this is a rare mistake from the title defender, and you can see Eric Salama in the stadium section. It's getting way too wet now, and we can see that Salama is going in for Inter tires. What about Harrison? Oh, and this is interesting. Harrison is doing it. What is Jack doing? There's going to be a double stack at Alpha. But you know, this could help Daniel Tanberg, who is in 4th at the moment.
Oh, and Yates is going to be kicking himself going in right after his teammate. Just about everybody is now switching over.
Oh, and of course Yates is lucky because Tanberg has to serve his 5-second stop and go now.
That's true. He did have that earlier in the race, but didn't talk about it.
Oh, and look at this. Fosbury in the pit for the 2nd lap in a row to fit on the Inter tires.
That's a shame. Fosbury tried to play the strategy game, and he would have been the first one to switch over to intermediates. He's got to be kicking himself right now. He would have been able to come out on top a little bit further up the grid, I'm sure. That is, as you said, a rare mistake by the defending F2 champion. But we also talked about it earlier, you know, the many roles that he's playing this year for IRL. And things like that happen. He's got his hands in too many pots, and a rare mistake, and his race is basically unraveled for him. Kevin Weston-Edwards is now running in 5th.
Oh, and look at this. It might be raining, but there is still a battle going between Bastos and Andreas Sass for 8th place.
And while these two are battling it out, Paco Suarez is starting to close in the gap to him. And you can just visually see how much slower the cars are now compared to when it was dry.
Oh yeah, and you can see the spray. Oh, has Sass made an error on the exit there? Bastos is getting close. There will be no DRS to help Bastos on the long straight now.
There won't be any DRS. He'll still be able to get the slipstream though, and this straightaway is so long, and he is so close. He should be able to make the pass. And you see him swing out. So Zaz is going to take the more defensive line, take away that inside.
But that
and Bastos has got it. Good move by Bastos. Worked on him for that last half of the lap. Makes the pass. And now Suarez is actually all over the back of Zaz. And Iceman, Jack Yates picks up 3-second time penalty.
Oh, maybe that could help Daniel. Although the gap is 8 seconds at the moment.
And this 3-car battle here, this is your closest battle. It's really the only battle on track right now. Through the pit sequence, everybody got jumbled up a little bit, but unbelievable run by Kevin Harrison. He played the strategy well. Ran those hards until the rain came down, threw on the intermediates when everybody else had to, so he's not going to lose a position. And now we get the 3-way battle. Suarez to the inside of the Red Bull. Zaz trying to hold him off of the stadium section. Bastos is able to gap these two just a little bit. And Suarez has had a very disappointing outing for this whole weekend. Crashed in qualifying, didn't play the race strategy right, spun in the stadium section early in this race. So he'll be looking to at least pick up another position and get a couple more points if he can. And to the inside, he's going to he's made contact with Zaz, pushes him wide. Slides the car, does his best impression of Ken Block to save it. Oh, and they bang wheels again, a little bit of argy-bargy. Suarez wants that position bad. He's unable to make it stick, but that was some great saves by Zaz and Suarez. And now the crossover move, he's going to try and make it work, but he can't, and he's pushed out wide. Tries to get the power down, the back end almost kicks out on him. Meanwhile, Bastos is loving this because he's been able to pull out to the tune of 2.5 seconds, so he doesn't have to worry about these two anymore.
I gotta say though, you are so right with what you said about Kevin. When I saw him still being on those hard tires, I was wondering what he was doing, and suddenly the rain hit perfectly for Kevin Harrison.
I mean, had the rain come any later, it would have been a disaster for him, but it really played into his hands perfectly, and he's going to be able to come home with a podium finish after starting deep in the field and running those hards for a very long time. Unfortunately, Jared Fosbury is going to be kicking himself in the butt for his miscue during the pit stop. And the other thing that we have to take into consideration there was all these time penalties that are going to be assessed at the end of this. You know, I've seen a lot of drivers. I mean, Tamberg had to serve his 5-second penalty. He managed to come back out in 4th, but his 3-second time penalties are still going to be tacked on at the end of this, along with everybody else. We see Suarez is still trying to find a way around Zaz and the Red Bull. 2 laps to do it. And Cameron Weston Edwards picks up another 3-second time penalty while we're talking about it.
And you know, I think I've seen Weston Edwards pick up a few of those, so I think he's gonna struggle to retain that 5th position at the end of this race.
Suarez still trying to find a way around Zaz. Meanwhile, Eric Salama has started the last lap. Actually, he's getting ready to start the last
Suarez.
lap. Oh, and they're side by side as they head down into turn 1 again. Oh, and he tries to get the power down. The back end kicked out on him, and he has to go straight through the corners.
And I think
that was a good save. But I think that's gonna seal the deal. I don't think Suarez is gonna be able to get that 9th position. So good defending by Zaz.
And now Eric Salma has started the last lap. But
yes,
before we take
Salma
him
has started the last lap.
over the line, we have Fosbury right on the tail of Cameron Weston Edwards.
Yellow flag in sector 2. Still a yellow flag in sector 2.
Going defensive straight away. Fosbury can't close enough.
Oh, and Edwards slides wide.
Ooh,
Saves it from going into the grass.
advantage.
Fosbury's able to make the move. Edwards powers it down on the outside, off the curbing. They're side by side as they head down the straightaway. Hard braking into this corner on the intermediates. They both run it a little wide. Neither one of them can get the power down to pull away. Yellow flag still in sector 3 now. Fosbury's able to make the move now. He was able to shoulder his way through.
Now we have
and Hamburg
Eric
picks up another 3-second time better.
Over the line to take the win in round 3 around Mexico. And and who's spinning around in the last corner? Kevin Harrison for 2nd.
That's possibly Suarez.
3rd will be
Paco
Jack
Suarez.
Yates.
Suarez is the one that's gone around.
Well, that happened
Daniel
then.
Tannenberg across the line. Meanwhile, Jared Fosbury and Cameron Weston Edwards are still battling it all the way to the line. So that is 5th and 6th. Tannenberg 4th. Fosbury 5th. Edwards 6th. James Hallworth is going to come home 7th. Alexander Bastos, a hard fought, well-deserved 8th. But he'll actually pick up 7th because of time penalties. And you all know how much Alexander Bastos loves finishing in 7th place. So there is Eric Salama. Looks more like Erica Salama.
Yeah, it does.
Followed by the 2 Alfa Romeos. Kevin Harrison, Jack Yates. We'll give you a rundown of the official finishing order after all the penalties and everything is all said and done. We've got Eric Salama picking up the win, Kevin Harrison, Jack Yates, Daniel Tannenberg coming home 4th, Jared Fosbury will be kicking himself all the way to 5th, Cameron Weston Edwards comes home 6th, Alexander Bastos comfortably in 7th as always, Andrea Zaz is 8th, James Hallworth 9th, Paco Suarez with a very disappointing outing, he'll be coming home 10th, Joshua Arnold, Luis Wassman, and Gordon Murray Donald, coming home in 13th. wanted to say Gordon Murray, but I know that guy did the McLaren F1. So
And
Joshua Allman with a rage quit. Luis Wassman will be disqualified for this whole outing and may be facing more penalties and punishments after this. It'll all be, I'm sure, investigated by the stewards after the race.
It will probably. And we are gonna see if we can get the top 3 drivers in here for an interview then. And I will have to say, what a brilliant strategy by Kevin Harrison.
Yeah, Harrison really played that strategy. I mean, the weather definitely fell into his favor there at the end, and that he played it perfectly. That's you don't see that often. Usually strategies. I mean, and a little miscue like Derek Fosbury had can blow it all out of the water. So, props to Harrison. He gets my vote for driver of the day. And congratulations to Ira Salama. I mean, he called it good. He was going to run a 1:14.3 and take pole, and he basically ran away with the race. So,
well, he
good
did
call
get
by you on that one.
By Daniel Tanberg at the beginning, but Tanberg unfortunately fell off quite quickly at some point there. And I don't think he had wing damage, I just think he couldn't keep up the pace of Eric. That is third and second, and that is... well, there is second. So, I don't know, do you want to start, Lance?
Well, congratulations to all 3 drivers, amazing race. Eric, it looks like you had this one locked up from the get-go. How would you describe today's race for how it went for you?
It was actually a very hectic race, and first of all, before I start, I just want to congratulate Aspect for amazing drive from P12, like taking his mediums to lap 27 and then managing it home in P2, just incredible job, and of course, congrats to Iceman. But yeah, very hectic race. Good fighting with Dantan in the beginning, and we were all actually waiting for the rain, but it was just a matter of time when it comes. But yeah, I have to say, when the rain hit it, it was very hard to keep the car on the track. But luckily, we had to do that only for 5 laps, but it was a very hectic race. And thanks for everybody who watched the stream. So yeah, congrats to all who got points.
And then we will talk to Aspect, Kevin Harrison, the strategy you played. I mean, the weather fell into your hands perfectly. I mean, did you plan on that from the get-go, or was it you just had a bad qualifying session and thought you would go on a different strategy?
In quali, I did purposely start on. I purposely went for hards, expecting to be probably outside of the top 10, so I could start on hards, and because I knew the rain was there, so I thought maybe if I can take my hards long enough, I can go hards to inters, and that's exactly what I did. At the start of the race, I was just kind of staying away from everything. I didn't want to get involved with anything. I just wanted to see how things played out, and then at the start, I was kind of fighting. I think it was James Owl and Cameron. After I got past them, after they pit, it was kind of just a quiet race until the inters, and then got P2. So yeah, I did plan from the start to go hards to inters if it was possible, and obviously that worked out today.
Now, were you getting a little worried there towards the end? You had gone so long on the hard tire that the rain wasn't going to come?
Yeah, I did have that in my mind, but I also went so long on the hards that, like, going on softs, I'd lose so much time, and with the rain maybe coming, I had to kind of commit to it, and it worked out, so.
Well, congratulations. You got my vote for driver of the day with that strategy call. And then Iceman, you were on a different strategy. You looked like you were out there racing hard all day. How would you describe your day?
He's probably taking a shit.
Did someone say something?
Nice.
How would you describe your race today? It looks like you're on a different strategy than your teammate.
Well, it was okay.
All right, man. A few words. Very well.
He talks much more in the party if you guys want to know. It's his like marketing stuff. He doesn't talk much.
Well, amazing drive by everybody today. Eric, he came in, set the fastest pole time, was dead on the money with what Sondre thought you were going to do. You're going to be able to take this championship fight all the way to the end of the season?
Well, we'll see. There's a lot of fast drivers in the division, and of course the power things, or the driver differences change track to track. Like next week we have Canada, which is everybody's favorite, so we can have 7-8 different guys who can win the race. But I think the championship fight is going to be epic. There's just 2 lucky races now, or not lucky, but good races for me. But it's a long season, and we have to also think about constructors, because Alpha got very good points from this weekend, and Bastos really needs to just level up a lot. Like if he finishes P7 every race, it's not good for the team. But yeah, it's going to be interesting championship.
If there's anything I can tell you about Bastos, if you've watched any of the previous season last year, he is going to finish 7th place. That's like his home.
Okay, I need to talk with
confident.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident Bastos holds the record for the most 7th place finishes in the league right now.
Well, I have to talk with Abid Delou about getting a new teammate, maybe. So that's the thing. Iceman, they want to, talk to me after this party, like about future contracts. But yeah.
And who do you think is going to be your biggest rival heading through the rest of the season?
I think it's going to be definitely Iceman. Like what I've seen from Austrian today, I think if I had to make a quick guess, it's Iceman. But he's a good driver.
Well, very well. Congratulations to everybody. Again, Salama with the win, Harrison with the strategy call, Iceman with the one word, so it is what it is.
A true Iceman.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
With that, then I'm gonna ask a few short questions too, and I'm gonna try to drag a few more words out of the Iceman. So, Jack, if you're still there.
Yeah.
Well, that's one more word. What do you think for this season? Is it is the Alphas gonna take that constructor, and what about the drivers?
I think constructors can happen. Drivers, we'll see.
Alright, fair enough. It's a few more words at least. Well, what about you then, Kevin? Strong performance today, obviously. Struggled a little early on in the season, also a little unlucky, but we're gonna see you more on the podiums. Maybe a win soon.
Well, in Silverstone, I think I could have got a podium. I was involved in an incident which spun me around, and if I was going the way I was going in Silverstone, I could have gotten the podium. Austria probably could have been up there, but of course I crashed out on the first lap, so I think I could consistently get on the podium. Maybe with that, to drivers, it could be something that to look at, but I wouldn't be expecting anything crazy. I'd say probably like top 4 would be realistic for the drivers.
Alright, well, great stuff then, and congratulations to the 3 of you on your podium today, and obviously for a 2nd win in a row for you, Eric.
Thanks. It feels good.
And with that, Lance, I don't think I have any more to add then, unless you do.
I do not. Congratulations to all the drivers. Again, great win by Eric and strategy call by Harrison and Iceman being Iceman.
Alrighty then. Then we're gonna end of the stream. This has been IRL F2 round 3 around Mexico, and it's been a brilliant race with a lot of battles. But if you want to watch any more, then you should come back next week for Canada, was it? I should know this, but
Round
yeah.
4, Canada. Be sure to like,
Round-
subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Check us out online, International Racing League-IRL.com. You can also check us out on Twitter. Sondre, what's the Twitter handle?
Oh, that is at F1_IRL.
And then we've got Jared Fosbury. Real quick, Jared.
He left.
No.
Too soon, man. Too quick.
Well, with
Easy
that,
enough.
I think you managed to kind of end it then, Lance. So we'll just say thank you to everyone who's watched, and hopefully we'll see you again.
See you guys.